Hey guys, it's Yorkie here, and welcome to my 1000 subscribers Q&A video. I thought I'd start off with actual camera footage. You'll probably see why very shortly, um, rather than just talking with a blank screen. So this is probably what you're going to see for the next couple of minutes or so, whilst I just want to say a very big thank you to you guys for getting me to 1000 subscribers. It's honestly, it's absolutely fantastic feeling to hit that mark. Just seeing the channel grow, um, because I could just upload videos, and only a handful of people would watch them. But as you've all been watching the videos, liking them, sharing them, favoriting them, posting them to Twitter, various forums, sharing with friends, colleagues, family, all that sort of thing, the viewer base on this channel has grown quite significantly, especially in the last month or so. There's been a lot more views and a lot more subscribers in the last month than any other month that I've had the channel running for. So, yeah, honestly, it's absolutely fantastic. I'm very, very grateful and very humbled that you guys have pushed this channel to get to this stage, and hopefully it will continue to grow into the future as well. So yeah, honestly, really, really big thank you to you all. It's great. So yeah, we'll start off with the Q&A then. We're going to start off with one of the first questions. This is probably the reason why I'm holding my phone up like this and recording. I don't have a webcam or anything. I shall avoid that question now. For now, we'll move on to a different one, which is basically by Skyjuice. He's asking, "Would love to see your rig and setup. Plus, do you plan on getting Project Cars on console too?" The answer to the console question is no. I only have a Xbox 360. It's the only other console that I have and is working. I did have a PS2 like way back in the day, but I don't obviously have that now. I just have a Xbox 360. But that has been up in the loft for the last 2 years, and there's no time soon that I can see it coming down from the loft and me actually using it. So, yeah, I'm not obviously going to get anything on that. I don't really want to get either of the two new consoles, as I have this PC and I can do everything that I want and play everything that I'd like to play on here. So I don't really see a need for either a PS4 or an Xbox One. So unfortunately, no, I won't be getting on console. On console, I'll just be playing Project Cars on PC. But yeah, you'd like to see the rig and setup. I did do a video for my 500 subscribers milestone, showing off the rig. So I'm basically just going to run this off very, very quickly. Monitor 1, monitor 2, track IR sensor up there. I've got the receiver sensor up on my headset on the side of my head, which you may see soon. The phone's going, but we'll ignore that. Yeah, Razer Lycosa keyboard. We've got a Razer DeathAdder mouse and a Razer Goliathus mouse mat. Very, very good combo right there. Down here, just past my legs, we've got the actual build, the system itself. In there, we've got an i7-4770K, I believe. That is cooled by a Corsair H100i water cooler processor. It's got a GTX 770 3GB superclocked graphics card with a gigabyte. Was it Z87UD3H motherboard, Asus Owner 7.1 surround sound card. Currently running about 5.25 terabytes worth of hard drive space in there, 16 gig of RAM. I've got two SSDs, one 250 and one 120 gigabyte. And I've got a 500 gigabyte hard drive, a 750 gigabyte hard drive, a 1 terabyte hard drive, and a 3 terabyte hard drive in there. So all the drive bays are full. Three new additions are the fans. You can see two of them going there on the side. It's mainly just to suck in air to cool the graphics card. And I've got one exhaust fan at the back there as well. Obviously I've got one at the top on the fins and one down here on the front. But those are different to those three, which are fairly new additions. The 3 terabyte hard drive and the 120 gigabyte SSD are also fairly new additions as well. Down there, just past the cabling, and in front of all the cabling, yeah, my cable management underneath my desk is fucking horrendous, is the pedals for the Logitech Driving Force GT wheel. No clutch pedal, just a brake and accelerator. You can see a subwoofer down there. That's a new addition to the system as well. It's an iDifer N3200 series are the speakers that I've got. That down there is obviously the subwoofer. We got one satellite speaker up there, and then the other one is over there. It's very good sound, and that's a little volume control slider there as well, with a little toothbrush that I use to clean my PC from time to time. So yeah, that's all there. Very, very good. Very happy with that. That's the Logitech Driving Force GT wheel. It sits on the end of my desk when I'm not using it, and when I am using it, I place it in front of me, sat here in front of the keyboard. You can probably hear the chair squeaking behind me. And then another new addition is the Logitech Extreme 3D Pro joystick. I bought this mainly for War Thunder. I've started playing DCS now as well, which is a flight sim game. And I've been using that joystick for those along with TrackIR. It works very, very nicely. I'm very happy with that indeed. So that's a quick rundown of my rig then, my setup. And yeah, if you want to have a more in-depth detailed chat about it, go and have a look at the 500 subscribers video, as I did 20-25 minutes talking about all this on there, minus the joystick and the speakers. So yeah, definitely worth going and checking that out. The next question is, I'm going to scroll down. I do this one. I might as well get this over and out and done with, out of the way, which is by RK Schmitter 7X. I believe that's how you pronounce his name. I'm not too great at reading names. It's probably not good for a YouTuber doing a Q&A video. But he asked, can we get a face for your voice? A question that is asked to every single YouTuber, whoever does a Q&A video and hasn't previously shown their face in any of their previous videos. So yeah, I suppose we can carry on doing that. At least it'll give you guys something to look at whilst doing this, rather than just slapping some Project Cars gameplay over the top. So bear with me one moment as I turn off this recording on my phone and switch the camera around and get it back in position like that, and then we can start the footage again. And there is my face. That is it. This is what I look like. The hair is all over the place. That'll do. Never mind, I'll leave it as that. Yeah, this is what I look like. This is the face to the voice. It's probably a fair bit different to what you guys were imagining, and it's a little bit weird for me doing this, but you know, it had to come at some point. Whilst quickly here, I might as well talk about the headset. So we got a Sennheiser PC360 headset right here. Very, very good headset. Definitely very happy with that. And then just here on the side is the receiving sensor thing for the TrackIR. It's a TrackLip Pro is what it's called, and it's good. It's a lot better. I haven't actually tried, shall I say, the other sensor that you can get for TrackIR, but it requires you to wear a baseball cap, and it sits on the lid bit and on top of your head. Whereas this is a lot better in my eyes. It's a lot more comfortable. I don't have to wear a baseball cap whilst wearing this headset. So welcome to Yorkie 065. This is what I look like. But anyway, we're going to carry on with the rest of the questions now. I'll probably just leave this running for the rest of the questions so you can see my face and the mixture of stupid facial expressions that I'm going to pull whilst doing this. I'm going to start from the bottom, and the first thing is by Mauler77. He asked, don't have a question for now. Okay, he didn't ask anything. Don't have a question for now, but it's good to see some actual race footage in Project Cars as opposed to all the hot lap videos that everyone uploads. So more races, please. Thank you very much. Definitely be doing more races, as those are what I enjoy. I do the odd occasional hot lap here and there, which a lot of other people do, like all the time. That's pretty much all they feature in their Project Cars gameplay, but I do prefer the actual racing. But yeah, like I said, I do the odd hot lap here and there for the Pedal to the Metal series, just so I can show off a variety of different cars to you guys and let you enjoy those sights and sounds on a variety of different tracks and a variety of different weather conditions. That's the whole point of the series. The next question is by Homer Simpson. Do you think Project Cars will beat Forza 5 in reputation/review scores? I'll answer that one now before moving on to the next one. Maybe. I don't really know. I just opened up the door because it's getting pretty warm in the room. Just keeps the airflow circulating. I don't know if it'll beat it in reputation review scores. I'm expecting it to score very, very highly, considering it's a very, very good sim, but it's an accessible sim. The menu system and basically the time it takes to jump straight into the car and actually start driving first time is pretty short. It doesn't take an amazing amount of setup to actually do just to get straight in and start driving. So for that reason, it's very, very good and very accessible. It kind of, in that sense, it's got the whole arcade sort of features, sort of thing. But the actual physics and everything is very sim-like and something quite challenging, but also very enjoyable as well. As to whether or not it'll actually beat Forza 5, I hope it does. It'll be nice to have a new king at the top of the racing game genre. However, maybe it depends. It depends how the how the entire world basically takes the game and that sort of thing. How well it's received, how much people actually enjoy it. I hope they do enjoy it because I certainly do, and it is really, really good. His next question was, do you think the physics are better than Forza 5? It's quite unfair to comment on that right now because although I played Forza 3 and Forza 4 a fair amount, I played it with a gamepad. I played Forza 5 back at Eurogamer London back in September last year, which is a good 10 pushing 11 months ago now. And even then I only played it for like 5-10 minutes, and from what I could tell in those 10 minutes that I was playing, it's very, very similar to previous Forza titles. However, they do have a few nice little features here and there that do kind of mix it up a little bit. Try and make the handling a little bit fresher, but otherwise it was mostly the same. As to whether they're better, putting it lightly, kind of yes. But again, it's unfair to make that comment. I haven't actually given it a proper comparison. I haven't driven Project Cars with a gamepad. I haven't driven Forza with a wheel. So, however, though, as like a kind of like a a predominant baseline sort of thing, I do prefer the handling of Project Cars. I'd say you get a lot more feel, or I've had a lot more feel. Again, it's two different controllers. It's a really hard question to answer fairly. So I'm probably going to have to leave that one for now and move on a little bit. He did say also more multiplayer races would be nice. Yep, they will be coming, don't worry. One more thing, would you be able to do a crash physics demonstration of Project Cars in the future? Yes, I will. I could probably do that now, to be honest, and if you actually watch the Q&A video, or should I say the proposal for the Q&A video, you can see me crashing at the top of a Rouge. That wasn't planned. The SLS in front of me, I was racing against AI at the time. The SLS in front of me kind of lost it midway through a Rouge and started spinning. Because of that, I started to apply the brake, and although I wasn't applying much braking pressure, it was enough to unsettle the rear end of the Z4 GT3 that I was driving, which was quite an unsettled rear end anyway. It's quite loose. It does step out, especially when braking and turning at the same time. But that coupled with going at quite high speed, doing that, and it was kind of calm but kind of slightly panicked because I wasn't expecting that to happen. Kind of situation, and also going over the crest of the top of a Rouge as well. I believe the corner's called Radion. All that kind of mixed in just made me lose complete control of the car. I skidded off the side of the track and smashed into the barrier at quite some speed and mangled up the front end. So you can see a little bit of damage there, but I'll definitely be doing a video in the future showing off some more advanced damage. I tend to race with visual only damage at the moment because of a previous bug that Project Cars used to have where the devs recommended to run visual only. So basically ever since then, that's what I'd been doing. I've been running visual only damage. However, there is full sim damage as well, and it's pretty good. You can get the car mangled up quite badly, and it can be pretty difficult to actually drive. It can knock the steering alignment way off, which is good. So yeah, keep an eye out for the future. There'll be something coming. Next question. It'll be by Daniel Hogger. I think that's how you say his name. I'm not 100% sure. He asked, as you mentioned it already in the video, I'll just take that question straight from there. Do you have any real life racing experience? No. A friend questioned me why I asked this question in my video last night, and my reply to him was, well, that's the reason why I put or lack of after I had mentioned that as a possible question to ask. He said, if yes, what kind and how does it compare to the sim racing experience? Okay, so although I haven't had any actual racing experience, I've done an awful lot of go-karting. It's casual go-karting. I haven't actually done any championship sort of stuff. I would definitely like to get into motorsport. That is something that I aspire to do. However, money is a big issue. It's very, very difficult to get into motorsport when you don't have much money in the first place. Just as an example, doing a 10-round championship, European Formula 4 championship a couple of years ago, it's about £100,000 up front to get into it. That's for a decent team. 10 rounds. That's for the car, mechanics, tyres, engine, pretty much everything that you need. And a lot of people don't have that kind of money for one season. It is very much a lottery. It can go either way. Obviously, if you do well, you can continue to do it. Obviously, you'll make up money back through sponsors and earnings from the race sort of thing, especially if you win. But it is a lottery. You can just absolutely blow that 100,000 in that one season, do terribly, and never be able to race again. So that's why I don't have any racing experience. I just don't have the money to be throwing into something like that. Even go-karting is expensive as well. So no real life racing experience, unfortunately. However, I've driven a few cars, mostly in the family. Obviously, I've got my own car. I've driven my sister's car. I haven't driven a new one. I've driven my mum's car. I've driven two of my dad's. He had a Mazda 6 Sport. At one point, I drove that a bit. I also drove his new Audi S-Line that he's got. I believe it's an A4 Audi S-Line. Very nice car. However, it's an automatic, so it's a little bit boring in some ways. Driving an automatic, I prefer manual with actual manual gears to actually use a clutch pedal. That's what I do prefer. But even still, very, very nice car. Driven a couple of my mates' cars, I guess. Again, they're only Ford Fiesta sort of things. And I have also done a Thruxton driving experience day where I've driven a Porsche 911, and also it's like an old Formula 3000 Renault car, something like that. I wasn't 100% sure, but it was an open wheel car. It was pretty old. It had it was a H stick shifter, only had 4 gears. It was limited to 95 miles per hour. It would have gone quicker, however they limited it for the safety of the experience days. But even still, that was a very cool experience. So that's what I've driven. How that correlates into Project Cars, it correlates quite nicely. The Porsche 911, driving it very similarly to how I drove it in real life in Project Cars, because they have an RUF, I believe it's RUF CRT-8 or something like that, I think. Maybe. I could be wrong. Correct me if I am wrong. Basically, it's a Porsche 911, sort of. I'm going to get a lot of hate for that now as well. They handle very, very similarly. Driving them how I did in that experience day, and from what I learned on that experience day and then putting it into the game, you can see a difference as well. So, yeah. You can use real-world driving techniques to drive in Project Cars. It works quite nicely. He did continue to go on to say he would love to know how if I've played Assetto Corsa or any other sims and compare them to Project Cars. I know this may be an overused debate in sim racing, but I only have Assetto Corsa so far, and it's always good to hear actual passionate Project Cars players comment on this between all the sim arcade hating that the game often receives. Sorry. Besides that, keep up the great work, especially in the multiplayer commentaries. Thank you very much. Yes, I do have Assetto Corsa. However, I've only played it for about 2 hours. I didn't really get into it because the first time I played it, it required a fair bit of fiddling, which I couldn't really be bothered to do at the time. It's both in settings and also the will to get it at a stable frame rate and also try and record, but I just kind of gave up on it in a sense in that way. So trying to make a comparison between the two, especially as I've only driven 1 or 2 cars in Assetto Corsa and only kind of in time trial mode, I didn't actually do an actual race. Be a little bit unfair to do it. But as for actual the hate sort of thing between the sim arcade, you're going to get that anywhere on the internet when people have the power to speak or type rather freely within forums, on videos, wherever, blogs, wherever they're posting their opinion. They're going to have their own opinion. Some people are willing to accept other opinions and debate rather than actually argue. But other people will just argue their own, think that they're constantly right, and just flat out refuse anything else that people say. But you got to deal with that. You got to live with it. You just got to ignore it and continue on believing what you believe. Keep yourself open-minded to what other people want to suggest and say about things, but at the end of the day, it's your own personal preference. You can't base everything fully off someone else. I mean, I could recommend Project Cars all day, but I know that some people aren't going to enjoy the game. If you like the look of the game and intrigued, then definitely try it. But don't judge things purely off of what people say, because your likes, your interests are going to be different to theirs. So yeah, you just kind of gotta ignore all the hate and just deal with it, move along. Okay, hopefully that one answered that for you. Next question was by Charlie Card. He asked, what is the damage like in Project Cars? As you can probably see from the video that he commented on, it's pretty good. I have touched on it, so I probably won't spend too much time on this. Basically, yeah, I'll be doing a video on it, but otherwise it's good. It looks good aesthetically. It affects the handling of the car as well when you've got it like the full damage switched on. So yeah, it's up there. It beats Gran Turismo and it beats Forza, although I haven't seen too much of Forza 5's damage. But yeah, it's nice, definitely. Next question is by A7X Brandon M. How well do you think Project Cars will translate to consoles, and what is the multiplayer community like so far for the game? I imagine it will transfer very well onto consoles. Translate really well, especially in the menu system. It works quite nicely. It's kind of got the arcade feel for that. Very easily accessible, so you could definitely use it with a gamepad controller. I've used it even on my wheel a couple of times, just navigating through the menus using that, and it works really nice. So it'll definitely be really, really good on console for that sort of thing. The sim-like handling. I don't know how well it'll handle on the gamepad. I haven't actually tried it. I probably should try that, to be honest, at some point, as I do have a Xbox controller lying around somewhere in the room. It's probably in one of my drawers. But I do have one, and I probably should hook that up and just see how well it handles with a controller. I probably absolutely suck because I'm used to using a wheel, but the options there. So yeah, it should do really, really nicely. There's a lot of work going on the Xbox One and also the PS4 version of the game as well. Constantly seeing build notes that are released daily, updates with things that they are doing and tweaking to the Xbox and PlayStation specific builds. I believe the game it'll probably be ported pretty much from PC to the consoles. However, obviously they got their own console functionality, so they're working on that. The core game, I believe, will be the same. As for the multiplayer community, so far, obviously where it's now closed testing. It was open at one point, so anyone could basically pay partially towards the game and get to play it. It's very good. It's a lot of sorry, I have to keep drinking water because doing a lot of talking fucks up my voice. Yeah, the community has been there for quite a long time, so the racing it's a really, really nice community. In fact, it's a little bit small because obviously where they closed it off, there's not an amazingly large number of people. Obviously, people have stopped playing over time, kind of got a little bit of fed up of testing, so they kind of stopped playing and are going to wait until the game actually released. But there's an awful lot of chat on the development forums. Those who have paid for the game get to see basically everything that the developers are doing. They post daily as to what it is that they've been working on during that day, showing screenshots of cars, tracks, physics updates, audio updates, updates to the roadmap for the game design, all that sort of thing. It's really, really good. It's a great insight for us, and it also gives us a really good opportunity to give feedback and post up what we'd like to see in the future and discuss with the developers how those features could work, how they can get implemented into all that sort of thing. It's really, really really, really good. I think a lot more developers should do this kind of thing that Slightly Mad Studios are doing. It's great to get the community involved and being that. I'm thinking of a specific word, but I can't remember what it is. Transparent. That's it. That having that transparency between developer and community member. But as for the actual racing, as you can probably see in a number of the videos, it's really, really good. Really, really fair. People leave you room. They won't go for a move if they know they can't make it stick without taking you off. And if they do crash into you and you both come off, they usually let you back past, or most drivers do. You do get the odd occasional rammer who will, if they get fed up with being stuck behind you, bump you off out the way, that kind of thing. There are some people who aren't afraid to trade paint, but I've never seen online someone specifically try and go out of their way to ruin someone else's race. I haven't seen someone drive the opposite direction to the flow of the traffic and try and crash into and purposely ram people. So in that respect, it is really, really good. Even when people crash off, even on their own, when they rejoin the track, if they're stuck in the middle of the track, they'll wait until everyone's gone past and they got some clear space to spin the car around 180 and get going again. If they come off the track, they don't just drive straight across the track, straight onto the racing line. They'll come in at a shallow angle onto it, slowly building speed and stay out of the way of anyone who's quickly coming up behind them. So it's really, really good to see, and I hope that it continues when the game gets released. Hopefully a lot of people who have been keeping an eye on Project Cars have seen that kind of racing and want to follow suit and carry that off into the future as well. That sort of thing would be really, really good. It's not fun when rammers ruin other people's races, and I don't get why people do it. It's stupid. Pardon me. So the next question is by Alonso Fan 1997. Have you noticed a difference in the AI on Project Cars from earlier builds till now? Yes, I have. It's been interesting watching the AI change. Because obviously when I first started playing Project Cars, which was back in April 2012, I believe it was. That's when I first purchased it and started playing. The AI back then was actually really, really good. They were aggressive. They had quite a lot of intelligence about them. They left room if you were coming up the inside or on the outside. However, if you were on their inside, they will try and stick it out on the outside and try and retake the position. They weren't afraid to make overtaking maneuvers. They were good in close quarter racing, although there were times where there would be contact and there were some interesting big crashes and that sort of thing. And in some ways they were very intelligent, but in other ways they were very, very dumb. So Slightly Mad Studios started working on them, on the AI. They took an awful lot of stuff out, and the AI became really, it became pretty crap, to be honest. And it went quite downhill. That's when I stopped racing against AI and started racing multiplayer, and that's where a lot of my footage has come from, is from doing that multiplayer whilst waiting for it to come back up to the standard that it was before. However, they've now got back there. I played against AI over the weekend. I got a couple of good races with some footage, which I'm going to be uploading in the next couple of weeks, of races of those, where the AI is actually really, really good. It's intelligent. It still has its odd niggles, and it is still being worked on, but it's back up to the standard of how it was before. The AI are fairly aggressive. They're fairly quick. They do give up a little bit too easily, and there are a couple of places where they are a little bit too slow, but overall it's good stuff. They're quite a lot of fun to race against, especially in the higher difficulties. So the AI has kind of gone from there, it's then gone down like that, but it's now come back up again, and I can only see it going up even higher again. So Slightly Mad Studios are doing a very, very good job with that, and it's making racing against AI worthy. The career aspect of the game should be very, very good. So definitely looking forward to that. Jesus, we're pushing on to half an hour now. Just gone over the half-hour mark. Okay, we'll try and rattle through some more of these as quickly as possible, as there's a fair few questions. The next one is just a comment. I'll click like on that. There we go. I liked your comment, Israel and Guiano, I think I said. He just said that damage though. Yeah, quite good damage. The next question is Paul Levis. He said, "Yo, if you were to get started on a budget on sim racing on a PC, where would you start? If you're an idiot with PCs, what kind of budget and specs do you need?" Basically, whenever friends ask me for help on building their PCs, as they have done in the past, budget-wise, you're kind of looking about the £700-800 mark for a decent PC. With that, things I'd definitely recommend trying to get i5 processor for gaming. Don't really need an i7 for gaming. i5 is more than enough. You can get them fairly cheap now as well. Preferably an ATX motherboard. A case that will fit the motherboard in. SSD, definitely. And a hard drive. You want your operating system on that SSD. And the main games that you want to be playing that are fairly intensive on that SSD as well. Anything else, all the other software and stuff, any other games that you'll play casually from time to time, put on your hard drive. At least 8 gig of RAM. Graphics card, I'd say minimum 760. It's kind of down to your choice whether you want to go ATI or NVIDIA. I'm an NVIDIA guy, so 760 on that behalf. I couldn't recommend anything on ATI because I don't really pay too much attention to them too much, although I believe it's their 270s and 290 cards are really, really good, I think, supposedly. I haven't really tried them. So yeah, even if you go in NVIDIA, I'd say minimum 760. If you can, try and get a 770, that a little bit more money. 780 is pushing it. The difference between the 770 and 780 isn't really worth it. You get more bang for your buck with the 770. Obviously a power supply that will be reliable. Go for big names. Same with the RAM as well. Go for big name companies like Corsair, Kingston, that kind of thing. They're just generally a little bit more reliable. Try and get a modular power supply if you can. It's a little bit better for cable management. It will be ever so slightly more expensive. And try and get, obviously, a power supply that has enough power to run all the stuff that you're going to be having. Basically, you want to try and get something that will last you quite a while, but also plenty of scope for expansion as well. Probably, I would say minimum 650 watt. 850 is very, very good. So hopefully you should be able to get all that for 700 to 800 odd pound if you're in Europe. A little bit more in euros, obviously, and same in dollars as well. Try and get a wheel. The Logitech Driving Force GT wheel is a fantastic wheel for its price. I bought it for 80 quid, and it's one of the best buys that I've ever bought. If you're willing to spend a little bit more money, definitely recommend TrackIR, the best peripheral I have bought, and I'll be doing a review on that, as it's almost a year now that I've actually had it, and it's completely changed the way that I play games. It's changed the gaming experience, so that is something that I'll definitely recommend when you get the money. But yeah, try and get that core system that I mentioned just there. Try and get yourself a wheel, although it's not 100% of a necessity. You can get away with a gamepad, I guess. So yeah, that's probably what I'd suggest. If you want to go into a little bit more detail, feel free to message me over YouTube. I'll try and get back to you as soon as I can with some more specific sort of things. But yeah, hopefully that answers your question for the meantime. The next question, I'm going to move on quickly, as I don't want to run on for too long. Novice Gaming, he said, "Hi Yorkie, I have a few questions for you. I hope you don't mind." Of course not. As Project Cars member, do you have any idea if Algarve International Circuit is in the plans or is requested at WMD? It's not in the game at the moment. As far as I know, it's not planned. It probably has been suggested somewhere on the forums, amongst a huge list of other tracks. So we may see it in the future. We may not. You may see it in DLC. I can't give you a firm yes or no answer onto that one, I'm afraid. His next question was, GT27 suffers from a dead zone in the middle due to dual motors. Sorry. Kind of half saying motors, half saying monitors there. I suck at English. Yeah, carried on saying, is Driving Force GT also got any dead zones, or is it having smooth continuous resistance all round? It doesn't have dead zones as far as I know. You can set up some in the game. I don't really like dead zones. The only thing that I have dead zones on is my joystick in DCS, but that's only because it's a little bit too sensitive. But I don't have anything on the wheel. And it seems to be smooth continuous resistance all round. It does change a little bit once you're actually in game from car to car. Some cars have better force feedback, but that all entirely depends on the the heat in the tyres, how warm they are, their current wear rates, the car that you're in, how much steering angle you're putting in, and how much steering lock the wheel accounts for. But in general, the wheel does feel smooth all the way around when you're not driving and you're turning it. It's got a full 900 degrees rotation, and it's very, very good wheel. Definitely recommend it. Unless you've got a G25 or a G27, they're generally better than the Driving Force GT, but I'd definitely recommend it as a starting wheel if you want to get into that kind of thing and looking to buy those in later on down the line, but don't quite have the money. His third question is, how deeply can the force feedback be adjusted in Project Cars? Does it have a simple global force feedback slider as in Shift Series, or does it provide with options to dial wheel strength, weight, road vibrations independently? It has all those things independently. It's got force feedback, which I dialed down to about 60%. It's got tire force, which is up to 100%. There is weight. There is other road features and stuff that I can't think of from the top of my head. That's mainly because I don't ever touch those. I don't adjust them. But there is quite a few options for your pedals, for the wheel, that you can adjust to, tweak and refine how you want the driving experience to be through the wheel. So it is very nice. And fourth question that he asked, is the force feedback feeling while turning, is it smooth or does it feel rumbly and gravelly? Is it possible to please include more on force feedback settings and its review for Project Cars? The force feedback feeling is very, very good. It feels smooth. It doesn't feel too gravelly or rumbly or anything else like that, unless you're really putting too much input, although I haven't really felt that in quite a long time. So yeah, it does feel smooth. It is very, very nice. As to more talk on the force feedback and doing a review of Project Cars, they will be coming in the future. I will probably be doing a review slash preview for Project Cars when the game comes out in November, so keep an eye out for that. The next question is by Lucas Muller. He asked, "Hi Yorkie, great job. What actually feels more realistic, Assetto Corsa or Project Cars? Would love to see a comparison of both physics." Like I said previously, earlier on in the video, I don't want to make that comparison as I've driven Project Cars for probably a couple hundred hours now, and I've only driven the Assetto Corsa for about 2-3 hours, so that comparison would be unfair. However, I have thought about, and I do want to do a comparison between the two later on down the line. Although they are different in many different ways, so whether that comparison would be fair or not, we'll have to see when it comes round to it. Chips and Cueso, I believe that's how you say it, has asked, "Have you been able to run longer races in Project Cars?" Yes, you can. At the moment, you can do up to 99 laps. I believe there is a feature coming that allows you to change that to time, so you can do like 2-hour races, 4-hour races, 6-hour races, and probably 24-hour races. Those are just running off the top of my head. Those aren't the exact hours that they'll be giving out, but there's a lot of talk on the forums for that kind of thing coming in the future. As to whether you can actually sit out and do that is another thing or not. I think the most laps I've done is probably about 20 laps in one stint, and that was quite a while ago, trying to get used to one of the cars. If so, can you talk a little bit about the pit strategy? That'll be coming up in an upcoming video, because the pit strategy thing that they've got going on is actually really, really cool. There's a lot of functionality behind that, so I want to do a separate video and answer that question in that video, basically. Really interested in wear rates of different compounds, the ability to set different fuel levels, etc. Obviously, different compounds and fuel levels affect the handling of the car. Don't really fiddle with tyre compounds too much, because the default sets it to medium tyre compound, which is generally the better one to go with. There are various different tyre compounds that you can choose from, and you can change those in pit stops as well. And you can also adjust fuel levels prior to the race and also in the race when you do a pit stop. Like I said, they affect wear rates. The tyre compound obviously will wear quicker if it's soft than it will if it's hard. Give you different grip levels, different variations in amount of time it takes to heat up the tyres and all that sort of thing. Same again with the fuel levels as well. That all affects it, and it is really, really cool. So hopefully that answers your few questions there. Mixed Magic Productions has asked, "Hi Yorkie, I had one more question I just thought of in regards to your uploads. Will you be uploading a Project Cars Formula 1 or Formula A, I think they call it for some reason, gameplay?" Yes, I will be. They will be coming very, very soon, in fact. And it is called Formula A purely for licensing. They don't have the license to call their cars Formula 1, so they call them Formula A, and the version of the Formula 1 car that they use is, I think it's like a 2011 or 2012 version car, where the exhaust kind of blow through the diffuser that's down on the floor rather than coming out through the top of the bodywork on their cars. So a couple of years old, but they have DRS, they have KERS, or the KERS and DRS is coming in the future. That's why they're called Formula A cars, not Formula 1. But there will be a video coming very shortly, like I've just said. If not, from the F1 gameplay you've played, how does it compare to dedicated F1 games like F1 2013? I don't really want to make the comparison, because the handling model of the Formula A cars isn't as far along as some of the other cars in the game, especially GT3. GT3 cars are the most furthest developed group of cars in the game, which is why I'm driving those an awful lot, and also the fact that I find them a hell of a lot of fun to drive. I don't really want to compare them to Formula 1 2013, because the handling is a fair bit different, and it's, like I said, it's not finished. I will say, however, it does seem like the Formula A cars and Project Cars have quite a bit more power. The rear ends of the cars are very, very loose at low speed. If you were to give it full acceleration, you will spin out. It is very difficult to keep hold of the cars, so you do have to manage the throttle. They do have an awful lot of downforce as well, which you'll see in an upcoming video. So hopefully that video will give you a better gist of how they handle, and hopefully that answers that one for the meantime. I'm sorry. I am trying to try and get through these questions as quick as possible, as we're now pushing 45 minutes for this Q&A. The next one is by Webzy09. It says, "Hey Yorkie, I'm fairly new sub and haven't seen too much on Project Cars yet, but from the few videos that I have seen, this game looks very impressive. But my question is, I play Forza Motorsport 5 a lot and love rear-wheel drift, so I'm just wondering if there are going to be any drift events / drift lobbies for online, or is this game going to be based around track racing? I do apologise if this has been spoken about before, but as I say, I'm a fairly new sub. Thanks." Don't apologise, because it hasn't been spoken about before, and it's actually a really, really good question, because I used to love doing drifting back in Forza 2 and Forza 3. I spent a huge amount of time drifting a Mazda RX-7 that I had, that I tuned up, and also a Nissan 350Z. I used to do a lot of rear-wheel drifting with those cars in those games, and it was absolutely fantastic. Loved it an awful lot. And as for drifting in Project Cars, unfortunately it is based around track racing, so you won't see it in the majority of lobbies. If you set up a casual lobby and ask people to just drift around and have a laugh, they probably will. Similar to how they do it in the Forza lobbies, from what I remember. They used to stick the lap count as high as they could go. They use specific tracks, and it's pretty obvious right from the get-go as to the cars that they're using, that they're going to be drift cars. So you could probably do that kind of thing. There's a couple of cars in Project Cars that do drift quite nicely, however it is quite difficult. I have tried drifting them on purpose, but I can't drift it anywhere near to the level of how I used to be able to drift in Forza Motorsport 5. They're difficult to hang onto. You really do have to get the steering input and also the throttle inputs exactly right to hold a drift without sending the car the other way or just ending up spinning yourself around. So you may see them, you may not. You could give it a go, and when the game gets released, I may do a video or two just purely trying to drift and have a laugh. So yeah, hopefully that answers that one. Stephen Campbell has asked, also, what is your favourite track to drive? I believe that was a follow-up question to what was my favourite car to drive, which one I like pushing to the limits the most, which I'll answer that now anyway, is the BMW M4 GT. It's a GT2 car. It's what I featured in the Nordschleife Pedal to the Metal video, where I drove the car in very thick, foggy conditions around the Nordschleife, which is probably my favourite track, mainly because I'm still learning it. I know where all the corners are, and I know some good lines, but I don't know the best lines for every single corner for every type of car, because you drive them differently, and every lap is a new experience for me. And that car, the BMW M4 GT, is absolutely fantastic. Really good acceleration, good brakes, handling is a lot of fun. You can throw the car around, and it can stick, but it can also bite. But it's quite easily manageable. You can catch the car if it's sliding. So yeah, really do enjoy it. That answers those two. I don't want to answer this last question, because the last question is from a guy who I know in real life. His name is Ben Kyle. I'll read it to you. He's asked, does the Logitech Driving Force GT wheel come with a detachable flesh for that ultra realistic ride? No. Jesus fucking Christ, man, sort your life out. Yeah, no, you dirty fuck. Honestly, some people. But yeah, that's it. That's going to wrap it up for the video. We've hit 50 minutes for this. This is probably the longest video that I'm going to upload. It's probably going to take me 12 fucking hours to upload as well, because my internet connection is god awful. But when it does get out there, I hope you guys have enjoyed it. Hopefully you haven't found my face too boring to stare at for the last, how long would it have been? About 35 minutes or so, probably. But yeah, hopefully I answered your questions. If you want to, discuss a little bit more in depth about the questions that you asked and the questions that I answered, feel free to message me on YouTube. I'll try and get back to you as soon as possible. Obviously, in videos, keep answering the questions that you guys are answering. I do try and keep trying to answer the questions as soon as possible when I can get round to it. As I do love that interactivity, talking backwards and forwards with you guys and discussing your thoughts, your feelings, my feelings, and comparing the two and any questions and providing information and tutorials and helping you guys out with anything that you may want to query. So yeah, thank you very much, guys. Thanks again for getting me to 1,000 subscribers. Honestly, it's been absolutely fantastic. I'm hoping the channel will continue to grow as well. More people will enjoy the content that I'm putting up that you guys are enjoying, and I hope that you continue to share it as well. But yeah, other than that, thanks very much for watching, guys. I shall hopefully see you soon. Take care.